Deep in the middle of the Pacific Ocean is a small chain of islands so remote that its nearest continental neighbor is over 3,000 miles away. It's a place where the norms of modern American life are instead replaced by a million seabirds and the gentle rustling of coconut palms. This is the US territory of Palmyra Atoll, and because of a unique set of circumstances, it stands as one of the most isolated, pristine, and inaccessible places on the planet. Not even American citizens can easily visit. To understand why this place is so special, and why so few will ever step foot on it, we have to first understand its geography. Palmyra is a classic coral atoll, a ring-shaped relic of a long-dead volcano, which means millions of years ago, a volcano rose from the sea floor. And as it slowly sank back beneath the waves, a coral reef grew around its fringe, constantly reaching up towards the surface. Today, all that remains of that ancient mountain is this vibrant ring of coral, sand, and forest, enclosing a series of lagoons. The entire atoll is tiny, with just over 4 square miles of land scattered across about 50 small islets and sandbars. These islets are low-lying, barely rising more than 6 feet above sea level, making them incredibly vulnerable to the whims of the ocean. But while the atoll itself is interesting, it's the location that truly defines it. Palmyra sits almost exactly halfway between Hawaii and American Samoa, almost exactly 1,000 miles south of the Big Island of Hawaii. This places it within a unique meteorological zone known as the Intertropical Convergence Zone. Here, the trade winds of the northern and southern hemisphere collide, creating a band of weather characterized by stillness and extreme rainfall. While other Pacific islands have distinct wet and dry seasons, Palmyra is drenched year-round, receiving an astonishing 175 inches of rain annually. This constant downpour creates a humid, supercharged environment where the line between land and sea feels very blurry. And this relentless rain creates a landscape that's also very surreal. The atoll is covered in a dense, lush rainforest dominated by towering Pisonia trees and groves of coconut palms. The forest floor is a tangle of ferns and other salt-tolerant plants. But it's the connection between this forest and the surrounding ocean that makes Palmyra a biological marvel. The atoll is home to one of the last remaining intact coastal strand forest ecosystems in the Pacific. It's a place where everything is interconnected. The millions of seabirds that nest in the trees, including very rare colonies of red-footed boobies and sooty terns, drop nutrient-rich guano that fertilizes the forest. When the rains come, these nutrients wash into the lagoons, feeding the coral reefs. It's all connected. The result is a maritime environment of incredible biodiversity. The lagoons and surrounding reefs are teeming with a dazzling array of life, including sharks, manta rays, and giant clams. The predator-to-prey ratio here is inverted compared to most places in the world. Sharks and other top predators dominate the ecosystem, a clear sign of its pristine health. This is a world almost untouched by the widespread coral bleaching and overfishing that has devastated reefs elsewhere. It's a living laboratory, a window into what the world's oceans were before humans. But this perfect ecosystem is also incredibly fragile. The very isolation that has protected it also makes it vulnerable. And it was this isolation that would play a crucial role in the atoll's next chapter, attracting attention during a global conflict that would forever alter its environment. Traveling to the Palmyra Atoll is on my travel bucket list, but even thinking about doing that has made me want to talk to you about today's sponsor, AG1, a company that helped me survive 9 months of travel. As a geographer and traveler, I'm constantly on the move, which can make it challenging to maintain a healthy lifestyle. For the longest time, my partner Alexa swore by AG1. She's been drinking it for years, and I never really understood why. But after months of watching her effortlessly maintain her energy levels, while I was struggling with fatigue, I finally gave in. And I wish that I had started sooner. Since incorporating AG1 into my daily routine, it's become my secret weapon for supporting my nutrition while I travel. AG1 is a daily health drink that combines your multivitamin, pre and postbiotics, superfoods, and antioxidants in one simple, delicious scoop. It supports my immune system and helps me power through those long days of filming and exploring. And I was surprised surprised by AG1's taste. It's not the grassy flavor that I expected from a drink this color. This is crucial for me because I refuse to drink anything that tastes bad. I'm just not gonna do it. It's also super easy to prepare, especially with their brand new travel packs, which have been a lifesaver on my recent trips. Just mix with cold water to support whole body health. So if you're looking for a simple way to support your nutrition, I can't recommend AG1 enough. It's a small change that has made a huge difference. So click the link in the description below or scan the QR code to get a free bottle of vitamin D and 5 extra travel packs completely free with your subscription. All right, let's get back to the Palmyra Atoll. The Palmyra Atoll is a geographic marvel, and its remoteness has protected it for millennia, allowing nature to create a perfect, predator-dominated world. But that very isolation has also made it an irresistible blank slate for human ambition, superstition, and conflict. The atoll's history is a dramatic story of shipwrecks, royal decrees, global warfare, and a landmark legal battle that reached the highest court in the land. Who knew such a distant and mostly empty island would play such a big role in history? To start, for most of its existence, Palmyra was a ghost on maps and charts. It was a place known more through legend than fact. In fact, it wouldn't enter into Western records until 1798, when it was spotted by an American captain, and it wouldn't even get a name for 4 more years, when the vessel Palmyra crashed on its reefs. Stories of cursed treasure and unexplained disappearances clung to the atoll like morning mist, making it a place of intrigue and fear. This all changed in 1862 with a simple, decisive act. 2 Hawaiian citizens, acting under the authority of King Kamehameha IV, claimed the atoll for the Kingdom of Hawaii. By planting the Hawaiian flag, they forever tied this remote speck of land to the fate of the islands 1,000 miles to the north. When the United States annexed Hawaii in 1898, Palmyra was included in the fine print, officially becoming a U.S. territory. For decades, however, it remained in private hands. In 1922, a Honolulu-based family named the Fullard Leos purchased the atoll for a modest sum of $15,000. They envisioned it as a potential copra plantation, a tropical family retreat far away from the world's troubles. And for nearly 20 years, that's what it was, their own private paradise. But the world's troubles were drawing closer. As tensions simmered across the Pacific in the late 1930s, the US military began to see Palmyra not as a paradise, but as a strategic asset. And here is where the atoll's story takes a dramatic turn. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, the US Navy seized control of Palmyra Atoll. What happened next was a brutal but necessary transformation. In a breathtakingly short period, this pristine natural wonder became a fortress. Naval construction battalions, the Seabees, descended on the atoll and remade it in the image of war. They dredged deep channels through the delicate coral reefs for ships, blasted and paved a long runway for bombers, and connected many of the islets with causeways built from dredged coral. The tiny population of tropical birds and crabs was suddenly joined by over 6,000 American servicemen. Palmyra became a vital refueling and reconnaissance hub for the war in the Pacific, a stationary aircraft carrier in the middle of nowhere. And while it was never officially part of any battles, the island was shelled by a Japanese submarine, damaging a radio station and dredging ship. When the war ended, the military packed up and left, leaving behind a scarred but strategically valuable piece of land. The Fullard Leo family, who had leased their island for $1 a year, now wanted their property back. The US government, however, refused, arguing it was sovereign federal land. The family sued, launching a legal battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court. In the 1947 case, United States versus Fullard Leo, the court sided with the family, affirming their ownership in a landmark decision for private property rights. The family had their atoll back, but it was a profoundly changed place. Its lagoons dredged, its islands linked, its landscape dotted with the decaying ruins of war. The family held onto the island for another half-century, fending off proposals to turn it into everything from a nuclear waste dump to a casino resort. But they knew its true value was not in development, but in its wilderness. This conviction set the stage for one final decisive transfer of ownership. In the year 2000, the Nature Conservancy, a global environmental organization, purchased Palmyra from the Fullard Leo family. This act was meant to protect the atoll forever, but what it also did was turn this former military outpost into one of the most exclusive and restricted places on Earth, creating an entirely new reason for its isolation. Why this happened and what purpose Palmyra serves today is the final piece of this extraordinary puzzle. We've journeyed across 1,000 miles of empty ocean to understand Palmyra Atoll's profound isolation. We've traced its strange history from a forgotten part of a Hawaiian kingdom to a critical fortress in a world at war. And now we arrive at the final, most pressing question. In an age of global travel, why is this American territory almost entirely off limits? The answer is not found in government secrecy or some hidden danger, but in a radical and ambitious purpose that has transformed Palmyra into one of the most important places on Earth. The reason you almost certainly will never visit Palmyra Atoll is that it is no longer just a piece of land. It's a mission. When the Nature Conservancy purchased the atoll in 2000, they didn't just acquire a remote island. They took on the stewardship of a priceless natural treasure. In partnership with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which manages the atoll as a national wildlife refuge, they have sealed it off from the outside world. This isolation is no longer simply a matter of geography. It's a matter of deliberate, protective policy. Palmyra is now a fortress for conservation, a living laboratory dedicated to science. Because of this, access is strictly controlled for one overriding reason: to protect the integrity of the ecosystem. The atoll's pristine environment serves as a perfect baseline, a glimpse into the past that can help us save our future. It shows scientists what a coral reef ecosystem is supposed to look like, free from the pollution, overfishing, and localized human pressures that have degraded nearly every other reef on the planet. Any uncontrolled human presence, even from well-meaning tourists, would risk introducing invasive species, from insects hiding in luggage to algae on a boat hull. In such a finely balanced world, a single mistake could be catastrophic. So the question isn't how to get people in, but how to keep nearly everyone out. So who are the few people who can go? The atoll is home to a rotating population that rarely exceeds 20 individuals. But these aren't tourists or adventurers. They're world-class scientists, researchers, and a small support staff from the Nature Conservancy and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And this isn't a tropical beach resort kind of life either. No. They live a rustic life, often housed in the simple, weathered structures left behind by the US Navy more than 75 years ago. Their days are dictated by research and the whims of nature. They might spend their mornings studying the complex relationship between cloud formation and the forest, their afternoons diving in shark-dominated lagoons to assess coral health, and their evenings surrounded by the overwhelming sound of 1 million nesting seabirds. So life on Palmyra today is this weird contrast. Decaying World War II era bunkers and overgrown runways serve as stark reminders of its violent, war-focused past. Yet they stand beside a thriving ecosystem that has reclaimed the island. It's a place where researchers can study the resilience of nature firsthand, and a place where they've worked tirelessly to eradicate the non-native rats that once plagued the atoll. Because of this effort, the results have been astonishing. Native trees are regenerating, and the seabird populations have exploded, which in turn has boosted the health of the coral reefs through the natural cycle of nutrients. This is why Palmyra matters. The research conducted here provides invaluable data for global conservation efforts. By studying how this healthy ecosystem responds to global threats like rising sea temperatures and ocean acidification, scientists can develop strategies to help protect other, more vulnerable places. So Palmyra is our planet's control group of sorts. It's a place that shows recovery is possible and provides the scientific roadmap to get there. Palmyra Atoll currently houses anywhere from 4 to 20 people, and the only people who get to visit otherwise are very large donors to the Nature Conservancy. I have no idea how much you need to donate, but it is a large enough amount that it needs to be called out on the US Fish and Wildlife Service website. This week, I'm in Bosnia and Herzegovina, exploring one of Europe's most complicated countries, and you can come join me over on my travel channel. I hope you enjoyed learning all about Palmyra Atoll. If you did, be sure to check out this video all about the Falkland Islands. Thanks for watching. See you next time.